네.
I'm waiting in my cold cell when the bell begins to chime, reflecting on my past life
The pictures tell the story. This life had many shades. I'd wake up every morning, and before I'd start each day, I'd take a drag from last night's cigarette that smoldered in its tray. Down a little something, and then be on my way. I traveled far and wide and laid this head in many ports. I was guided by a compass. I saw beauty to the north. I drew the tales of many lives and wore the faces of my own. I had these memories all around me so I wouldn't be alone. Some may be from showing up, others are from growing up. Sometimes I was so messed up and didn't have a clue. I ain't winning no one over. I wear it just for you. I got your name written here in a rose tattoo. In a rose tattoo. In a rose tattoo. I got your name written here in a rose tattoo.
Big wave surfing is an emotional roller coaster, you know? There's a duality of feeling. One side of you just wants to turn around and go back to shore, but the other side is like, holy shit, like, I want to ride these waves. For me, the scariest moment is when the wave stands up so tall that it completely erases the sunlight. And that's when the shadow overtakes you. And you know that shadow, what it is? It's the monster behind you, you know, that you're very close to that danger zone. I started surfing when I was 9 years old. It was like an obsession, my first really big obsession. There was no such thing as pro surfing in Portugal back then. There was no Nazaré, that's for sure. I mean, there was Nazaré, but no one surfed it. There's no place that can compare to Nazaré. Nazaré is undisputed the biggest wave. I remember in 2004 when I was 14 years old and Ross Clark-Jones and all the great big wave surfers in the world, they want to come to surf Nazaré, and they got it here and they turned their backs. They're like, oh shit, this, like, we're not ready for this. I think technology wasn't ready for that at the time. The jet skis weren't powerful enough. The live fests weren't there yet. What has happened in the last 5 years in Nazaré has been mind-blowing. You know, how people used to ride the waves and how people are riding the waves these days. It's just a huge difference. Everyone just stepping up their game, getting better and better. Waves are getting bigger and bigger. I think we're only scratching the surface of the size of the wave and what's doable on those waves. But nature always has a superior hand, and it's a motherfucking strong one. It's a beating of a lifetime. It's brutal. All of a sudden, you're upside down, rolling on the wave. You're getting torn apart. Wave hitting you, taking you to the deepest, darkest corners of the ocean. And it's so dark down there, so powerful. Your ears start popping, your lungs are starting to compress and asking for air. We're absolutely nuts by surfing these waves, and we all have death wish, but that's not the truth. You know, we want to ride the biggest waves, but we also want to make it safe to our friends and family. There's a really thin line, but there is that line. What's too dangerous and what's doable. And I think the goal is to be on that line and not trespass that line. We all know that, you know, it's a dangerous sport. There's been a lot of accidents. I don't even tell my parents that I'm going out at Nazaré. My girlfriend, my friends, there's always a word of like, hey, be careful, you know? That's the kind of words I don't want to hear, you know? Like, I don't want to be confronted with the risk. I don't want to die, you know? I don't have that desire. I want to live a good, solid life and tell the story at the end of it, you know? That adrenaline of catching a huge wave is just uncomparable. I think I'm never satisfied, to be honest. You always want better and bigger, and there's no finish line. Yeah, I want to ride the biggest wave in the world. That's my goal. I want to ride the biggest wave in the world.
Bethesda is like the spiritual home of free thinkers. It's a sort of vast landscape that's almost biblical in magnitude. The harshness of it makes you a much more thoughtful and spiritual person. It's almost an oasis for people who are innovative in their thinking. Because to survive on such a land means you have to be stronger. You have to look for answers in non-traditional ways. This seems to be a place that is a magnet for people who want to express themselves and makes it a visually interesting place to be as a photographer. To my friends in America, if they wanted to find an area that was quirky, warm, creative, and in the middle of a fantastic land, I would say come to New Bethesda, because that's where they would find it all together in one small, wonderful place.
July 19, 1848. A women's rights convention in Seneca Falls, New York, launches the movement to give American women the right to vote. That campaign succeeds when the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution takes effect more than 70 years later. 1993. President Bill Clinton announces the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy on gays serving in the military.
It certainly will not please everyone, perhaps not anyone, and clearly not those who hold the most adamant opinions on either side of this issue.
The compromise forbids the military from asking service members about their sexual orientation, and it requires a discharge for service members who are openly gay or engage in homosexual activity. 1969, Apollo 11 and its 3-astronaut crew start orbiting the moon ahead of man's first landing on the lunar surface. 1990, baseball's all-time hits leader Pete Rose gets 5 months in federal prison and a $50,000 fine for filing false tax returns. That happens after Rose is banned for life from baseball amid claims he bet on the game, something he admits years later. And 1980. The Summer Olympics start in Moscow, minus the United States and dozens of other countries. Those countries decide to boycott the Games over the Soviet Union's invasion of Afghanistan. Today in History, July 19th. Carlotta Bradley, The Associated Press.
Welcome back in our studio, and in today's news,